Greetings everyone, my name is Mark Henderson and I'm going to show you how I obtain some of the effects that I do using a program called Paint.net. And just for the record, I also have some add-ons that are kind of installed, and it's real easy. I'll cover that in another video, but right now let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I have Paint.net already open. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to File and I'm going to Open. And what I'm going to look for is I'm going to look for a base drawing to maybe fill out and do some of my effects. So I'm going to go into my railroads, and I've got a folder where I keep a bunch of drawings by different people's names as reference and so forth. So we're going to pick something pretty simple. Let's see here. I'm going to show you how to clean the base, and that's what we're going to do. All right, so we will go with so many good choices here. Let's see, we'll try a 38B, and these come from Trainiacs, and I don't know if you can see this or not, but I will move it over here. Trainiacs is a website. I think you can Google it. If not, you could probably Google Michael Eby. He's the one that does most of the drawings that many of us who do locomotives use. Now, as you can see, this is the base drawing. Okay, so let's get familiar with our setup here. We've got several different panels. We've got this kind of panel that allows us to choose different things like magic wand, rectangle, just move selected pixels. We have gradient. We have a different type of shape polygon situation where we can change the shape. We can also draw a line. We can also do text. Now, that's good. I'll cover it as I go into it. I'm not going to try to bore you to death with a bunch of useless details. Here is the color area. And you can, if you need more, you can go over here for each one. You just need to make sure that you switch over. This is our layer area, our window. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of all this blue. Now, this is the time-consuming part. So what we're going to do is we're going to click the magic wand, and we're going to click on the blue area. All right, and the blue area is highlighted. Now, what you can do here is you can, I don't know if you can do an edit. Let's see, I don't think you can. Yeah, okay, so Control X is cut. Remember that. And that gives you a transparent area back here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the Control button down on my keyboard, and then I'm going to use my mouse and right-click, okay, everywhere, and I'm going to roll the wheel in while I've got the Control button pressed, because that allows me to zoom in and out. So Control and roll. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pick, and I'm going to scroll in because my eyes aren't as good as some of you. I'm going to go ahead and select this, and what I'm doing is I'm taking it out slowly but surely. All right, because if I like to work with a transparent background. I can always add a background later, but I can't do it any other way. And if any of you have, sometimes if you work with different programs like Photoshop, you might be able to do it. Now, I'm going to scroll out just to show you. All these areas are selected. I let off my control. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to control, go up to the edit. I'm going to go down to cut, Control X, and there it goes away. Now sometimes it's tricky, so I forgot that one apparently. Go ahead and get that, get this. And so this is going to be the time consuming area. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to speed this up. So, but it's going to take a while. And I wish I could speed it up. I'm not that good with video editing, but it shouldn't take too long. So bear with me here. And it's just, you got to be careful, because when you click on these black lines, you'll erase everything, and you don't want to do that. You want to always get the blue. Sometimes you got to go in to where you see the pixels. Once you see the pixels, then you can click. And then I'm going up here. Got it. Okay, we had that. All right, let's go over here. I'm gonna go ahead and get that one, and remember to hold that. Remember to hold the control button down when you're doing these. All right. All right. So let's go ahead and see what we got. Okay, good. All right. So it looks like there's no blue in there. This might take so long. Zooming in because that little cursor there, it's hard to get centered, and so you have to go in. All right, scroll over here. Now you got some stuff here. Oh, I hit something wrong. Let me back. So here's a key point. Control Z allows you to backspace or undo. I use Control Z all the time because I'm always getting myself into trouble. And these little pixel areas are really hard because you got to zoom in. All right, so let's see how it looks so far because I may have made it. Okay, good. All right, now I'm going to go in here and do the. I'm having a hard time getting within the lines. Scrolling in some of these hidden ones here. All right, and these like that. This. All right, let's see. We got this, and we're knocking these out. I'll try to make another video and show you how to set up paint.net. In the meantime, just kind of try to follow along. You can actually use some of the same techniques that I use in other programs. I've used myself, I use several different programs, but I stick with paint.net mainly because it's just a pretty simple, easy to use program. It's not too complicated, and did I mention it's free? And I don't think you can. I mean, I know GIMP has a lot of features, but GIMP has a learning curve, and I've only been able to do a certain amount of things with GIMP. You might be able to do more, but I can't. So see, we have some hidden areas up here. Go ahead and knock that out. Now I'm going to go ahead and do this. It's up to you if you want to do all this. Sometimes you can do without the blue, but I'm going to show you why it helps. Oh, messed that one up. All right, let's move over. And I'm almost done with this, and then we can get started, and I could show you some of the techniques. And once you see why I do this, I think it'll make sense. Right now, it kind of looks probably, like a foreign language. I watch a lot of tutorials, and I get frustrated because they lose me right up very early on, and I either have to stop and play the video back and forth and take notes. And I hope that you don't have to do that if you want to achieve, the same kind of effect. Okay, so let's see here. I'm almost done with all the blue color. All right, so let's see. Okay, wiper. Let's see, wiper front, right? Okay, the wiper front looks like it's bled over because that's a wiper. It shouldn't be blue. So we're just going to X this out. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over here and we're going to switch this color to white. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it easy. I'm going to go and take the pencil and I'm going to go ahead and mark it in like manual. I'm just going to drag it down. I think many of you are probably familiar with just doing this in MS Paint because I know a lot of Alt Control. Well, I just can't draw a straight line. Now I'm doing this. You can also do this. You can go to the line. You can pick number 1, and then you put your cursor here and just draw down straight. That saves a little bit of time. All right. So we have a base drawing right now, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and save this. And what this does is, hold on. We're going to go up here and save, and we're going to, when we save as, I always go to save as, we're going to pick ping, because ping is one of the few formats that covers the transparent background. Okay, so we're going to save it as a ping. It already exists. Yeah, it already exists. Okay. Yeah, yeah, I'll go ahead and save over it. So, all right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go over to the layers. There are two ways to do this. You can either click the plus, which says add new layer, or you can go up to layers and add a new layer. There's usually two different ways if you've done computers for a while, but I usually use this one. Okay. Actually, you know what? It doesn't matter. I'll leave that layer there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the magic wand and I'm going to click in the white area. Actually, let me back up. I'm getting ahead of myself. You see this? This says duplicate. I want a secondary layer of the same thing, so I'm going to click duplicate. All right, so if I unclick this, I'm going to work on the top background. I'm going to click in the white area with my left button. Nope, not going to do that. I'm going to hold a, how about this? I'm going to hold the shift button down. Shift selects everything. Okay, so it's blinking. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up and I'm going to cut. All right, you probably didn't see anything, but what we're going to do is we're going to unclick the bottom image. Look there. All you have is a outline. All right. You can still select like these different areas, but it's just, you know, it's just empty. And the reason I do that is because, and I'm going to go ahead and rename that one. We'll call it outlines. And this is going to be a layer that's going to go above just about everything else. All right. So now I have the base, the background, that's fine. Okay. And what I'm going to do here is if I want to add a color, all I have to do is, I'm going to go ahead and click the background, but if I want to add a color, I can add it right here because it's in between. It's like a sandwich. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to pick a color. I'm going to pick, there, we're going to pick this, this brown. Actually, it's a pretty boring color, but we'll pick maroon. Okay, so now I'm going to take the rectangle. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick the rectangle. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to draw over this area. And I'm going to go up here to where it's got draw shape outline. I want to fill that shape. Okay, so see what happened? Okay, so now here's the deal about having the outlines. You have the outlines on top. See, if you don't have the outlines on top, you can't draw underneath. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that there, but I'm going to go to the background. And then I'm going to click the magic wand, go to the transparent area. I'm going to hold the shift button down. I'm going to left click, and I'm going to Control C, or you can go up and or you can copy Control C. All right, so I did that. Now I'm going to go up to Layer 2, and I'm going to Control V. See what I did? It cut out all that excess. You don't have to erase it by hand or anything like that. So technically, I've got it colored right now. Okay? And so I can go from there. Now, it looks pretty simple right now. Okay, it looks pretty simple. So what I would advise you to do is probably before you get too far along, is you want to probably take like your rectangle, and you probably want to shape your handrails at some point. We won't do it right now, but I'm just trying to show you some of the colors that you can do. All right, so we're going to do that same thing. We'll go up here and pick the rectangle again. We're going to give it a kind of a tone, maybe about mid-tone, say somewhere right in here. That looks about pretty good. Okay, so we're going to go back here, select the magic wand, hold the control button, or shift button, click, copy, control copy, go back here, control V. And so now I have a Frisco looking vehicle. All right. And actually, you can go ahead and name this. I advise you to go ahead and name or title your layers. All right. And so we're going to do this. We're going to name it color. Okay. You can name it whatever you want, whatever helps you get it, organized. Now, what I'm going to do also is I'm going to go and I'm going to put in another color, or I'm going to put in a layer right below that one. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to pick not black, but we're going to pick almost black. How about that? So we're going to go with the almost black, and we're going to kind of just go underneath. all the way down through here. Actually, you know what? We'll just go the whole way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically, you can zoom in by holding control and rolling the wheel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold that right there. Okay, so I want that. And control D solidifies it. Okay, so I'm going to go to the background. And once again, I'm going to get that magic wand, put it in the transparent area, hold the shift key down, control copy. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go control V. Wow, see there? It's taking shape so quick. And I can also see things in here. If you want to make it darker, you can. Now, here is the key to all of this, okay? This is the crucial step that I think is going to help you, is you can either use the background or the outlines, but go in here, and if you click while highlighted on the background layer, and say, for instance, I click this area, see? It separates it out, okay? And sometimes you just got to go in and decide what you want to select. And you know what? I'm just going to select all that. I don't care. All right, for right now, go in here. I'm guessworking it, but I think it's going to look okay. All right, sometimes it doesn't, but we'll try and see. Okay, so now, while you got that highlighted on this layer, you don't have to do anything else, but you can click on another layer, okay? And if you want to, you can go to adjustments, and here's a cool trick. You go to hue saturation. All right, so hue saturation allows you to change some things about that. Okay, so look there. You can go in here. You can lighten it up a little bit if you want. Okay, all right, we'll go ahead and do that. And then we can go up here if you want. And if you've got the the add-ons, you can really do some cool things. Look at the gradient bar. All right, so I've already got some colors in here. I'm going to go ahead and change these colors out. Put a little bit of faded look. That didn't look the way I wanted it to. It's not too bad. It's just not where I want it. Okay, so you get where I'm going. You can adjust these the way you want to get the look you want. Now, you see these lines are coming from that angle. We're going to switch this around to where they come from the top, because that's the way dirt and grease usually drips down. So now what we got here, and let's see, scale. Scale's about right here. You can adjust the scale. I'm going to leave it about right here. You can do all kinds of things. So we're just going to leave that for right there. Here's another technique. You can go up here to effects. You go down to selection. You pick bevel. Oh, too much bevel. So we're going to reduce this down to about 1. And we're going to reduce the lighting. We just want the slightest bit. And we're going to go ahead and go there. All right, look at there. Already kind of taking shape. May not be perfect, but these are little parts that you can go in and play with. Now, what I advise you to do is not do all this in the same layer like I did. All right. So what I would advise you to do in the future is probably go to a separate layer. Have layers for every single thing you do. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to create another layer on top. Okay. So we're going to call this one truck. Okay. Or trucks. Okay. So we're going to put that there. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to do the render and see how that looks. Render selection should be the same. Okay, so there we go. Okay, now here's another thing. If you want to go back to hue, you can make it darker if you want. You can you go back to this and you can actually, you know, make it a little bit like that if you want. If you think that will work. Okay. Now, since it's on a higher level layer than this one, here's something that you can do. You click off of it. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and name this as the, we'll talk the dark under because I have no imagination, and that'll be this area right here. Okay, so now that we've got the trucks, if I select trucks and I go up to effects and go to object, drop shadow, look what it did. It made it fuzzy. Okay, so what we're going to do, this moves it left and right. Well, we're going to imagine that the light is coming from this area. So we're going to move this over, not too much, but a little bit, and we're going to move it down. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to choose the widening, and you can give it a shadow effect. Although it's not going to work too well, I don't think, because for some reason it's not showing. Oh yeah, there it is. It's just behind. I don't know. It's weird. Okay, we won't do it right now. And here's another thing. If you go down to the dark under, if you go and you select, sorry, I forget, dark doesn't allow you. Go to the background and select. Okay. And we're going to select some of these areas right in here. And let's see. Okay, there we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to dark under. And we're going to try a different effect. We're going to go up here to selection. Now we already used bevel. Now we're going to use inner shadow. Okay, the inner shadow, you can already see what it's doing. You can leave it here or you can play around with it. Right now I think it's, you can adjust the shadow length, or you can adjust the blur radius. It's up to you. You can even change the color. Once you do that, look at there. We've already added kind of some three-dimensionality to it. And that's actually pretty cool. And that's the way I do it with a lot of the wheels, okay? So I'm going to put, and you got to think of the way you're doing these layers. The top one is going to be over this one. So the truck's layer is over layer 6 right now. So we're going to double click on that. We're going to call that wheels. And then we're going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to go to background. I'm going to select the wheel portion by holding Control and clicking. All right, and I'm going to go over here and actually I'm just going to go up to wheels. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and select white. I'm going to click it again and select black. White and black is really good for gradient effects. So we're going to go up to the gradient area and we're going to select it. And now you see you have some selections here. You can get a linear version, a linear reflected, and diamond. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the radial. Now once you go and back to the screen, you want to left click, hold the button down and drag. And you see what's happening? Okay, it's kind of a nice little effect that gives a bit of shine. And we're going to drag it down just a little bit. It might be too much, so let me put some gray in there. That might be a little better. How about some silver? Okay, so we're going to drag that on down a little bit more because we don't want it too obvious. All right, so there we go. Drag it down for effect. Okay, so we're going to select that. All right, now, let me Control Z. And while I got that selected, I'm going to repeat the inner shadow. Okay, look at there. We've got a 3D effect. All right, so you see where we're going with this. We're starting to change the way this looks, okay? The key thing here is remembering where you are on layer. And here's another thing. You can take the background layer, you can go in here, take your magic wand, you click in these areas that you want to kind of have, a little bit of, I don't know, definition, for lack of a better word, okay? And is this going to be cool? I think you're going to like what you see here. So now what we're going to do, we got it selected in the background, but we're going to go up to dark under, and we're just going to repeat the inner shadow. And look how cool this is. Automatic. You didn't even have to do that much work, and already it's looking pretty darn good on the lower end of the front. And I mean, you got to spend a little time, but I think it's worth it. And for right now, I'm going to go back here and I'm going to click these two circles because I know they're pretty dark generally. So I'm going to go back to dark under. And I'm not going to repeat it. I'm going to go down here, select it so that I can change to make it a little bit darker because I want it to be darker. I want it to really be darker. Okay. Actually, I want it more than that. Okay, so there we go. All right, so there we go. All right, now, for each little thing you want to add. So what we're going to do now is we got the wheels, we got the trucks. We're going to add a layer on top. And I'm going to go ahead and name that cylinder. And the cylinder layer will be these right here. So I'm going to go to background. Remember, you always have to go to background to select. I'll go ahead and select this. Okay. And yep, that should work. Okay, and then I'll go over here. That's missing something. That's not correct. That's weird. It doesn't look right. But, oh wow, just for, oh. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take this. I may have not done that right, but we're going to go ahead and take this and we're going to go up to cylinder. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to go up to gradient. We're going to pick the linear reflected. Alright, and we're going to kind of come down here with the left button. And we're just going to have to go here. Okay. Now, it's a little bit darker than I wanted. I don't think that's supposed to be like that. But anyway, for right now, you see see the effect we're getting. Actually, I want to move that just a little bit higher. Okay, for effect. Sometimes it's hard to get these situated, but we'll get there eventually. That's close enough for me. All right, so let's see, darken it up a little bit, and the black actually could be lighter. So we'll switch these around. Might make that one a little bit darker. So you go down here in your crease. If you do use the slider down here, make sure you remember what number you put it down. Put a little note somewhere. So we'll take that one. Okay, so there we go. We got that. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to Control Z. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go to Object and see what we can come up with. We should be able to offset that, but I don't know why it's not letting me do that. Okay, let me check and see what I'm doing wrong. Okay, I got the top one there. Oh, because it's selected. You can't do it when it's selected. It took me the longest time to figure that out. You cannot select when you use this. Everything else you generally have to use that. So I'm going to move this down. I'm going to change this to dark. And I'll move it down a little bit. Okay, that should be good. Okay, and then I want to move this. I don't need so dark. Okay. All right, look at there. Already, we're getting there. And you can see, here's another tip too. Once you do one of these, what I would do is I would maybe save this bottom area, and that way you use it on other ones. And really, you can change the colors, if you want, and still keep the base. So it will look good. All right. So now that we did that, let me go up here. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go to background, and we're going to click in these little handles, the little hollow area. And I'm just going to do these for right now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to color. And I'm going to go selection, inner shadow. And let's see here. See how dark they are? You don't need them that dark. So we're going to bring it in about right there. We want it to look like there's a little bit of depth. We can get some depth in there. I think that'll work. So we'll try this. It may not work out. Sometimes it doesn't. All right, look at there. I think we've achieved that. All right, so here's another one that you want to do, kind of close to the top. You want to add another layer, and this is where it gets fun. You're going to title this one probably Gradients. This is going to be cool. Now, something I haven't discussed yet is the blend mode. The blend mode allows you to do some very interesting things. And so what we're going to do is we're going to select multiply. Okay. So now on this one, we're good. All right. So what we're going to do here is if you look at this cab, you know that if you're looking at the lights from over here, you know there's going to be a slight shadow. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that's white and black. I'm going to select the rectangle, and we're going to go up here and we're going to try to line up this, okay? I'm not worried about the antenna or the wiper right now. I'm going to drag it over here. Now, if you want to adjust this, once you got that selected, you go over and click this one, Move Selection, and it puts these little these little adjuster knobs to where you can slide it out. And sometimes, like right here, you can see it was a little bit off. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to back out a little bit. And we're not going to fill up the whole space, but what we're going to do is we're going to hit the gradient. And for this one, we're going to use the simple gradient. Now, I'm not sure. Okay, so I got it backwards, so I'm going to swing that around. I'm holding the left button down. I'm going to drag this little item out. You can, if you want a gradual shadow, you can do it that way, or you can beef it up a little bit. It's up to you. It also depends on the color, but look at there. We've already added some definition to it, and it looks almost 3D. And I know that from some of my reference photos, I'm going to have to do the same thing. So I'm going to go back up here, and I'm going to pick this, and I'm going to go to about right there. Okay, because I know that's out drop or out a projection. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the item again, and we're going to kind of go like that. I don't need it too dark. We just need a little bit. Now, if you don't like that, you can always take the rectangle, draw something, and then go over here and select the move selector. And look at this. If you hover right underneath or around the corners, you get this little turn. If you hold the left button down, you can do this. And then I just use my arrow keys sometimes if I want to, like, kind of give it, you know, kind of like an angle. Okay. I don't know if it really looks that real or not. Okay. Now I'm going to go below the color. I'm going to add a layer. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to add a blur. So I'm going to add blur. Now blurs are tricky, but blurs are cool. So I'm going to go ahead and do blur. I'm not going to blend. I'm going to leave it normal. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the white, and I'm going to select a line, and I'm going to go up to about maybe 5, maybe, I think, something like that. Let's see what we got here. All right, and I don't know how this is going to work, so let's bear with me here. I'm going to hit Gaussian blur from the menu, the FX menu. So I got blurs, Gaussian blur, and it already fuzzed it up a little bit. So if I go in here, you see how it's shining it up a little bit? Because we know that that's a curved surface. So I'm not going to do it too much. Maybe about right in there. I should do it. Okay. Just so that it looks like it's kind of projected outwards. Okay. All right. I'm running through a lot of this real quick, but I'm just trying to give you a quick idea of what I'm doing. Okay. So now, also, when you consider the light is coming from this direction, you also want to keep in mind the shadows and effects. I'm going to go to the background. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to select this area. And I don't really care if it gets a white or not, but I'm going to have to go in here and I guess manually select these. And don't forget to get underneath. Takes a little while, but it'll work. I don't worry about all the little knobs, but we are going to get as much as we can. I'm going to zoom in. It gets tedious, but if you've used Microsoft Paint, you know tedious is standard. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we got it selected on background. We're going to go back to color. Okay, you could create another layer if you want, but I'm gonna stick there. I'm going to go to adjustments. I'm going to go to hue. Hue, remember, makes it darker or lighter. Well, no wonder. I've got it selected there. I'm going to go about 1 notch to the right on saturation, and I'm going to adjust that light. Okay, so maybe that's a bit too dark, but I want it a little bit less. I want it to look like it's been faded somewhat. So maybe that's good right there. We'll leave that. Okay, so see, that looks already good. All right, now, one other thing that I do, I like that shade up here on the cab to show a little shadow and I think it gives it a little bit of definition. So I'm going to go ahead, create another layer right above color. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to give it its own name because it's kind of special. Leave it like that. And I can't spell, so bear with me here. Got a master's degree, but I can't spell. All right. So now I'm going to go back, and since I'm closest to this, I'm just going to go. Actually, no. I'm going to go to. I'm going to go to the. This is tricky, so I'm going to go background. Select it. Now I'm going to go to color, and I'm going to Control C. I select background because I want to get the image. If I try to click on red, sometimes see what it does. All right, but if I go to background, I can click on that one object. Now, while I got it selected, then all I have to do is go up to color. It's still selected, but it's on a different layer. I'm going to Control C. Now I'm going to go up to shade, and I'm going to Control V, which is paste. All right, so what I'm going to do here is my adjustments for hue saturation should be the same, so I shouldn't really have to mess with it. See, it's a little bit, I don't know, it's still a little dark, but I'm going to just lighten it a little bit. All right, so I'm going to Control D selects it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Effects. I'm going to go to Object, because remember I said you can't have it selected. This is the one thing that you can't do. All right, so already that's looking not too bad, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust this up a little bit maybe, and over. And I'm going to reduce that here. Kind of make it look realistic. I don't know. You be the judge, but it's all on how you want your own model to look. Okay, good. All right, so I've got that. So this first part is already, I think, it's taking shape. All right, so one of the things we want to do before we get too long, so I'm going to go ahead, excuse me, I'm going to go ahead and create a layer right here, kind of high up. And now I'm going to go to Outlines. I'll pick those windows. Okay. And actually, I'm going to click those windows. I might want to move. I'm going to move that under shade because I want that shadow to be over it. So this is going to be my window layer. All right, so okay, so now I lost it, so I'm going to go ahead and control that. I'm going to go here to, I'm just having a hard time today. Okay, all right, so I got window selected. Now I'm going to, you can pick whatever color you want for this. Sometimes I'll pick like a kind of a light blue. That's not light blue for some reason. I have no idea what that is. What in the world? Oh, there we go. Okay. I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to take the gradient. I'm going to take the linear reflected. And now I'm going to stretch it out, but I'm going to switch these colors. Okay. And that's going to look pretty cool. All right. But I'm not going to leave it there. I want to give it some sense of dimension. So while I got it selected, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to go back to my favorite inner shadow. The inner shadow. Let me see where that's at. I'm going to go ahead and pull those back to original. But you can adjust these the way you want. Okay. And since the light's coming from this direction, there's going to be a little bit of shadow over here. And that's cool. Now you can change that direction of the light angle. But I'm going to leave it here. Actually, probably reduce that maybe. I don't know. Let's see. That's good. Whatever. Okay, so we got that one. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to click Outlines. I'm going to go back, select Magic Wand, select in that area, go back to Windows, and go back to Gradient, and I'm going to select it, get a kind of a shiny effect, and now I'm going to go up and just repeat the inner shadow. And we have our windows, and they actually look kind of realistic. I've got the shade with the shadow coming over that. Looks good. I've got this mirror, so I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to leave that on the same item. Okay, so I'll go ahead and actually, you know what? I'm going to I think I'm actually going to create another layer. So we're going to create a mirror layer. Now, You can get too many layers. And I can't spell that either. All right, here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back here and one by one. I'm going to click this. Got it around here. Got that. And I got that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to mirror. And I'm going to go here to selections. I'm going to try something. I'm going to go bevel. See if I can get a bevel effect. Okay, that's kind of cool. For some reason, it's not working the way I want it. All right, let's try it this way. All right, well, I may just have to do this. But I'm going to switch that around. Okay. Now let me see if I can use a bevel. Bevel sometimes works, bevel sometimes doesn't work. I think if you scroll in, you can actually see a little highlight. See how it changes when I use the slider. So we'll leave that like that. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back up here. Actually, you know what? I don't have to go back up there because technically I already got a square there. So there we go. All right. So I'm going to go down here to gradient. And here we're going to go vertical because I think a mirror kind of looks like this. So we get the shiny side kind of moving that way. I think that looks like a mirror. Looks like it enough for me. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go up, since we created that separate layer, we're going to create a drop shadow. So go down here and drop shadow. Okay, so yep, we got a drop shadow because mirror's got to have shadow too. And actually, you know what? I don't think I'm going to mess with that too much. I think that looks pretty cool. So there we go. Already looks pretty good. You know, now we can also, if we want, I forgot to do the fading. So since this is angled that way, I'm going to outlines and then I'm going to go to the roof. And now I'm going to go all the way down to color, select color, and I'll go over to the hue saturation and it already selected it for me. So there we go. See how it's taking shape? It's taking a pretty good shape now. Now, here is an interesting area right in here. I'm going to go to background. And you know what? I'm not entirely sure if I'm doing this right, but I think I am. Actually, I don't know if I am. I'm going to Control Z. All right, so let's go back to color. Let's go selection, inner shadow. And you can darken that, stretch the shadow out if you want, because there's a little bit of a, you know, depth in there. Man, I should have done that one too. Sometimes I have to go back and redo things because I just don't get them the first time. There we go. All right, so I'm going to go back to color. You just got to remember what layer you're on. And when you have too many layers, like I usually get, you can get lost. And so I've learned over time, you know, to kind of manage my layers. All right, so wow, look at that. We're already we're rolling pretty good. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the background. We're going to pick this, and let's see. We're going to leave these colors like this. We're going to go to, actually, we're on background. We're going to go to color, leave it selected. I'm going to select the gradient. I'm going to select this linear reflected tool, and we know the light's coming from this area, so what we're going to do is click about right here, and we might make that back side a little bit lighter, I think, and then flip it around. I don't know if that'll work. We want some shadow. See there? All right, so there we go. So far, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Now, you can get in there and you can detail this. Like if I wanted to, and sometimes I get down in the weeds with this, I'll take the rectangle box and I'll go down here, you know, and I'll drag this down, and then I will pick the gradient, pick the linear, and then let me back turn this around. Okay, so let's see. See how you get a little bit of shadow? Might do that. Gives it even more, dimensional dimensions. Now here's something that's cool too. If you really want to add some effects, I can select this area. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, I've got that selected. I'm going to go to the gradient, the one that, and remember it has the multiply. So I'm going to go up here to gradient. I'm going to leave it where it's at, and I'm going to kind of drag this way. Now I don't want to do it too much. I just want to give it just a, I'm going to hold the control button down and roll out. Let's just stretch it out there and give it a little bit of darkness. All right, see what it did there? It kind of separated it in a way. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and I'm going to work on the railing because I think the railing could use shadow. So we're going to pick this one. All right, and let's see here. We're going to say, for instance, we're going to have to scroll in here, and I'm going to select each one of these little areas with the magic wand. Whoop, Control Z, and I'm holding the control button down while I'm doing this so that I can get them all. Okay, so it's all one color. This actually kind of takes a little bit of work. All right. Actually, you know what? I'm going to show you a better way to do that. So let's just Control D. All right, so what I'm going to do, I've selected outlines. So I'm going to take the rectangle. And I'm just going to pick this area right in here. I'm going to Control Copy. I'm going to go up to Edit. And I'm going to paste in a new image. So that's what I copied. Okay, so I'm going to spend some tedious time here getting rid of some of this stuff. So I'm going to go in here, select it, delete it. Some of this is just, but once you do this, this is the cool thing. If you spend the time now doing this, you can go back and use this same template. And all you got to do is change colors in it, and that's what I do. It makes life a little bit easier rather than having to color every single thing again, which sometimes I do because I screw up. And let's see here. So all of this down through here, I don't think I need for that. I'm going to come right over there. I'm going to delete. And let's see. I don't need a lot of this actually. All right. It's a little bit time consuming. Actually, you know what you can do is you can select this. Now watch this. I'm going to hold Control button, and I can select multiple ones. So this is actually kind of cool. If you really want to select a bunch of stuff, I screwed up. I should have. Okay, I'm going to let off the Control button and roll up. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to go ahead and Control X. Get rid of a bunch of stuff there. Okay, and let's see. I'm going to go here. And once you do this, you want to definitely put this on a different layer because it's going to make a world of difference, and you can change those railings anytime you want to change them. It's just kind of cool. All right, let's get a little bit closer. All right, I'm going to select the move selector, and I'm going to go in because I want to drag it out on this side to where I can get a little bit more. There we go. And I'm going to go up here, and I got to play with this a little bit because I'm not sure. Is that where that goes? Does that look right? Kind of. Or does it look off? Let me back it. Yeah, it looks about right. Okay. So here we go. Delete. All right, so delete. And, you could probably find a better way to do this. It's just, I screwed up. So I got to take black and put right in there. Okay. Now I'm going to click the rectangle. Go here. This is the time-consuming part of it, for me anyway. And I mean, let's see here. I think, yep, okay, that's what I thought. I mean, it's hit or miss. All right, so what we're going to do here is delete that, and I'm going to Control Z because I didn't want to do that. So we'll go here, delete, and we're almost done. Actually, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. But I recommend once you do that, you know, just getting rid of all of that stuff. So here, we're just going to mask delete. And all we want is that rail. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our magic wand, we're going to go out here, and we'll select. Notice how that selected the outside. But what we want is the part inside. So you're going to have to press the control button, press the letter I, and it reverses. Now you can Control C, and I'm going to go over here, and let's see. You got to figure out where you want your rails. You want them definitely above the color. But if you're going to put logos and lettering, you need them above that. So I'm going to go ahead and select above color, and I'm going to put rails. Okay. All right. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to back out because I don't know where it's going to paste. All right. So I'm going to Control V. Okay. See how it did that? I'm going to drag it over here. Now I'm going to, oh, by the way, if you want to go left and right, you hold the shift button and roll. Control zooms in. Okay, now for this, I'm going to manually move it up one at a time. I think we got it. I think we're right on target. There we go. Yep. Okay. We'll move up. Oh, too much. Go back down. All right. Okay. So that is good. So now we're on that layer that says rails. If we take the color off, see, the rails are there. If we take the background off, that rail is still there, although, I mean, you really can't tell. But, all right, so here's what we're going to do. Say, for instance, we want to make those red. Okay, so I'm going to go to color, select the red, okay? And now I'm going to go back up to rails, and I'm going to pick from here, I'm going to go up to here, I'm going to go up to here. I probably wouldn't do this on mine, but I'm just showing you for technique's sake, and I think you'll get the idea of what we're doing. Okay, so going ahead, selecting these. Actually, I don't have to do that, but oh well. You get the idea. All right, so go here. Oh, got outside the thing. Whoa. Okay, I'm back out of that one. All right. And that's already red. So I guess I can leave it. Okay. So go ahead and while you got all that, you hold the shift button down and use the paint bucket tool and it selects all that. Okay. And this one is all white. It shouldn't be changing colors like that. So what we're going to do, because of safety, we're going to change this to white. So we're going to turn this around, use the paint bucket, go over here, and there we go. All right. So now I'm going to show you what happens. We're going to go up here. We got it unselected. We go up here. We drop down to the object. And now we can create a shadow effect. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to move it back a little bit more than I normally would. Pronounced, okay? Give it a little bit of a effect. And let's see, whitening radius. Oh, I don't want that high. So I want the radius to be about where it's at. Blur radius can come down a little bit. Okay, that's good for right now. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of a little bit of this excess. We're going to take the rectangle. And I know that the shadow is not going to go past here, so I'm going to go ahead and select out. And I'm just going to go up here, hit delete. Oh, I missed some areas. I didn't know I was going to go that far out. Okay, and we're going to go over here. I'm just going to go to that edge. Should be good enough. And there we go. And already we have something that's taking shape. You can do the same thing here. You can create little rails there too. I don't know why I didn't do that, but I didn't go far enough out. Okay, so don't save. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and save this. Even though it says ping, when I do this, it's going to save it as a PDN. PDN is a paint.net file, and it's editable. So once you save it, you can go back in the same file. So we're going to go ahead and do that. If you want to give it another name, you can. So I'm going to give this one a different name. I'm going to say, test. And now it's going to be a PDN. Okay? All right. So if I go to look for that, it's going to be there. All right. So what we can do now is we can go in and we can, do other edits as needed. But you can see it's already taken pretty good shape so far. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. So I'm going to show you one more thing before we end. I'm going to go to I'm going to go to gradients. And I'm going to go back here and select this dark. And we'll select a rectangle. I'm going to show you something here that you can do if you want. So I'm going to just go in here. It's going to be rough. It's not going to be perfect. But I'm going to try to give you an idea of what I'm doing here. I'm going to take the gradient, select the linear, but I'm going to go down from the top a little bit. Okay, that's good enough right there, I think. I might drag it down. Okay. Already, that looks pretty good. However, while I got it selected, if you want to, you can go to selection. You can pick inner shadow. And this is where you can really get some depth in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the shadow link. So I'm going to do that. And you see this little yellow bar? It's moving, it's thinking, it's processing. And sometimes it'll give you a preview. Because I may have done it too much. See there, it gave a little shadow. Maybe too much, I don't know. I'm going to back out. But it's really, really nice. And you see what it's doing already. So I'm just going to go ahead and select that for right now. And there we go. Already, we've taken shape. Okay. Now, there are other areas in here that we can work on. It's not perfect. I'll worry about that later. But what I'm trying to do right now is just give you an idea of what the different things that you can do. So remember, key thing here is always add layers for each effect. Remember what the position of those layers are, because if I move the window, and I'll show you, if I move the window above the shade, okay, I lost the shade over the window. So I'm going to move that underneath, okay? And so you just got to remember where you move all that stuff. You don't want to move this under the color because then it disappears, And by the way, a lot of times before I put that drop shadow, I will duplicate that one down here, add another one, and then I'll add a title for shadow. In this case, I already did it, so I'm too late. And remember, I primarily work off the color one. However, to get the outline, because if you use the magic wand and you try to click on color, you get that. So you can either go to the background layer, select the area you want, and then go back to color. All right, I'm going to show you one more thing. And this is actually kind of cool too. All right, this is the fill effect. So we selected the area with background, then when we get the color, now what we're going to do is we can go up here. We're going to go to fill. Now, what I'm going to tell you to do, or I'm going to advise you to do, is get a folder in your hard drive and make sure that you call it fills or something. And I capture these good quality images from all over the internet. Okay, so I got paper, I got stone, I got trees, I got marble, I got my initials, I've got backgrounds that I use. But in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to go up here and use this dirty grunge. Okay, so you don't see anything, but what we're going to do here is we're going to zoom forward. Oh, popped up. So that tells you where it's at. Now what we're going to do is we're going to slide it over, and we're going to move this back because we want. Actually, I thought I could do that. Oh, you know what? There we go. Okay, move up and down, move it back around. So I'm trying to get this smaller, so I'm just going to max out. Okay. So there we go. That should be good right there. Okay. And you know what? That's good, but that's not what I want. I screwed up. So color, let's let's go up to gradient. Let's put it in gradient. And now we're going to do fill. And since I selected that, I'd already put it in there. You see what it does, right? Okay. So if I got it selected like this, you look at that. It gives it kind of a rough, grungy look. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to Control Z. I'm going to go to Adjustments. And I'm going to do the hue saturation. And now I'm going to lighten it up a little bit. Make it a little bit, look, not so, pronounced. So now we're getting kind of that effect. And look at that. It gives it a little better look, don't you think? All right, so we're going to leave that for right now, and then we'll work on everything in the next video, and we'll do some detailing, okay? So if you have any questions, you can let me know, or comments, if there's something that you don't understand or whatnot, and we'll stop there. I'm just trying to show you some effects and give you an idea. All right, so thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you later.